Good day, everyone. We're going to learn about the notes that are written outside the staff. So sometimes the behavior of the notes is stepwise. And when we talk about stepwise, it's either we move from one letter to the next, like this. If my original note is letter D and I want to move one step higher, then I will just go to letter E. But if I want to go back one step lower, all I have to do is to step backwards to letter C. In the staff, the behavior of the notes would be from one line to the next space, to the next line, to the next space in alternate order. If we would be drawing the stepwise behavior in the staff, it would actually look like this. From one line, sometimes it can go up to the next space. And sometimes it goes down to the space before it. Just like this note here on space number 2, if I want to go one step higher, then all I have to do is to go up to, to line number 3. But from this note again, if I wish to go down one step lower, I will have to go back to line number 2. And that is how the stepwise motion is in music. But then again, why am I talking about that? Well, because we can use it later as we find out the letter names of the notes outside the staff. So don't forget this time to draw a staff because it's always a must to draw the staff. Now, what if I put the note here just below line number 1? It is now outside the staff, and definitely you cannot use the sentences or and the codes that we have. So how to count, how to be able to name this note here? Okay. First question is, where is it closer? Is it closer below line 1, or can it be found above line 5? In this case, it's below line 1. So all you have to do is to ask yourself, then what is the letter name again of line number 1? Ah, yes, that is letter E. Line number 1 is E. And then it moves how many steps downwards? Oh, it is just beside line number 1. So I will just have to move one step backward to the next space. Is the note on the line or just floating in space? Well, the answer is it is just floating in space. And so, with that, I'll just go to the next space. From E, I will go back to letter D. This note here is letter D. But what if I decide to name a note that is above the staff, just like this? So again, this is closer to line number 5. And we all know that line number 5 is letter F. How many times did it go up? It only went one step upward. So from the line F, it simply moved to the next space above it. So from F, it becomes letter G. This is your letter G. So, sir, is there a possibility that a note goes higher than letter G or goes lower than letter D below? Yes, there is. For example, what if I have here a note that is this time on a short line? Remember, this is what we call the ledger line. So let's find this out. It is still located below line number 1. So line number 1 is letter E. And the note that we are looking for is just a first, it's just located at below line number 1, and it is on a short line or on a ledger line, just one ledger line below. So remember that in between the two L's, there's always a space. And so we will have to travel from letter E minus one step, that would be letter D. So this is D. And finally, this note here, another step below, this is your letter C. The same principle applies if the note is above the G clef staff. For example, this time you will see a note that is placed here. Let's try to discover what letter name would that be. So this is near line number 5. We all know that line number 5 is letter F. There is a short line or a ledger line after line number 5. The note is above the line, so it's floating in space. And since it is stepwise, there's also space below. There's a space below the short line. So it means to say that I will have to travel how many steps higher? 1, 2, 3 steps higher. So the letter will move from letter F to G. Now remember, after G, we will go back to letter A. And finally, we have reached a destination. This is letter B. I hope you were able to get how to name the letters or the notes in the ledger lines and the notes outside the staff.